Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and tonight I just got back from watching the brand new movie I.S.S, or International Space Station. And if you've seen the trailers for this one, I'm going to tell you that is exactly what you get. It is a close, not close encounters, a close quarters, suspense-filled thriller, I suppose. It's almost a horror movie at parts. It's definitely got those moments where you don't know who to trust and you don't know what's going on, and then this person's seems like they're gonna be the one who snaps and starts going after the other people. But basically the premise is that on the International Space Station you have your Americans and you have your Russians, 3 of each, and suddenly they look down out at Earth and they see these explosions going off, and then they get both teams each get a call from their governments telling them to take over the space station. They need this space station, and they're not told why. And then the power goes out, and the station is slowly going to start falling. They have 24 hours. So you have immediately so many stakes. Not only is there a war on the planet, but the space station's going to fall. And also they set up this what would you call it, a Chekhov's gun of sorts, of oh hey, this is our lifeline. If you ever hear it go silent, that means our air has been turned off, so we're gonna need that. So you're kind of just waiting for that to happen, because that life support system's gonna turn off at any point. And this thing is all about building suspense. And I'll say this much: this definitely was a little bit of a slower paced movie, a little bit of they're really trying to keep you closed in this one space station, so you never get images of what's happening on Earth or what the war really is, what's going on specifically. You just know that it's America and Russia, so you never find out if they even manage to make it back to Earth, how fine everything is. Are we full Mad Max, or how bad exactly is it? You just see a bunch of explosions going off, so you don't really know, which definitely helps heighten the tension because you're kind of in the same situation they are. But I can already see people kind of being disappointed, because admittedly I was hoping maybe at the very, very end, maybe they would finally land on Earth and you'd see what does it look like, what's happening. But you don't really get that moment, and I understand that wasn't really the point of the movie. This definitely is semi I never actually played the game Among Us, but it was real big a couple years ago, and it does have some of that. You're enclosed, and there's only so many rooms on this space station you can go to, and you don't know who you can trust, and people are trying to convince other people that you can trust them, and you have a language barrier of sorts in certain cases, and just all the tension that you could possibly create. This movie does it really well, and it's got a decent amount of kills. Now I will say there is another version of this movie where I can see it being, I can only describe as, I don't know, more action Hollywood type thing. I can see a very certain scenario where they would insert a sort of Die Hard John McClane element to this exact same premise, where it's more action oriented, and then in that version of the movie we would see Earth, and we would see what's happening for each government, and we would see why taking control of the station is so important, and we kind of get a vague idea of, oh, someone was working on radiation medicine, and so maybe that's what the governments want, but we don't even get that confirmed. We don't even fully know that that's exactly what they wanted. It's just kind of a lot of guesswork, because these people are, they're literally in the dark for a lot of the movie. So on one hand, this movie is a great suspense thriller. On the other hand, I kind of also want to see that other movie, that other version where it's more action oriented, where it's much more of a Hollywood blockbuster kind of thing. So I can imagine that someone in Hollywood right now is okay, take that premise, but take it up a couple notches, sort of shift genres from suspense thriller to action thriller, and there you go. You have a different movie basically. But yeah, having said this one, you know, they make you care about the characters as much as they can, and their friendships and their relationships and how they all get along. There's a little bit of tension there, but you know, they just have to live in these close quarters together, and you know, so that way when things inevitably start going wrong, you're like, oh my god, I can't believe it, you know. And yeah, I will say this movie does, like, and I figured they would have to, you have to have one just bad guy, right? And you know, of course it's one of the Russians, but also there's an American just bad guy, and they try to give him a little bit of a, like, you know, like, oh, we have to do this, we have to, but they're definitely like the instigators of actually trying to take the other team out, whereas everyone else involved, and I was kind of surprised how much it was, everyone else involved was like, oh no, we don't have to kill them, let's just wait, let's just see what happens, let's just wait till communications come back online, let's try and stay calm. Like, everyone was being so reasonable, and I think that's the more realistic version of it. But I guess for plot reasons, you have to have at least one or two people in there that are like, no, let's go get them now. You know, which, okay, I get it, you know, like in order for stuff to happen, you can't have everyone thinking rationally and being calm. Like, you gotta have some people like being the instigators of conflict. So okay, and yeah, just basically I think my only real complaints is just that we don't really get any answers beyond what the characters know, you know, which I know that's kind of the point, that like kind of amps up the thriller nature of it all, right? Like, oh, we were kind of in the dark information wise. But yeah, I am kind of left wanting, like, I wish there was some kind of epilogue, some kind of, like, just give me like another like 2 minutes, give me 2 minutes of showing them land on Earth and they are in some country, or at the very least I was hoping that the power would come back on and some news footage would show, like real quick news coverage of what's happening on planet Earth, you know, because we really just never really find out, you know. We're just told, like, there's a war, nuclear bombs are going off, that's all we know, you know. So like, yeah, did they even want this radiation cure thing? Is that why they want the station? Or maybe there was something completely different on the station, we don't really know. But yeah, in any case, it was a really effective, you know, thriller. Just don't expect it to be too much of an action movie, you know. Like, there is a couple fight scenes, there is like a couple of, like, oh my god, they're gonna die, no they made it, no they died, you know. There's a couple of those moments, but it's definitely not an action movie. It's not like a slasher movie of any kind. It's really just about the suspense and the tension. That's like the core focus here. So anyways, let me know what you guys think about I.S.S, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.